If you're hunting for a laptop that can actually keep up with your gaming sessions without turning your lap into a sauna, you probably want something reliable, easy to live with, and worth the money, not just a long list of specs. The HP Envy 171011NR is one of those big screen machines that keeps popping up when you search for gaming laptop under $1,000. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I get why a lot of people pause before clicking add to cart on a 17-inch laptop. On one hand, you've got the promise of a massive display and a desktop-class graphics chip. On the other hand, you're looking at a machine that's going to be heavy, probably loud, and may not hold its own on newer titles. The risk of ending up with a pricey slab that runs games at low frame rates or overheats in the middle of a raid is very real. That's why I dug into what the Envy actually delivers once you fire it up, and what kind of gamer or power user will genuinely benefit. First, let's talk about the core of any gaming laptop, the processor and graphics. The Envy 171011NR ships with an Intel Core i7-7720QM, a quad-core chip that sits at 1.6 GHz out of the box and can boost to 2.8 GHz under turbo. It's a generation-old CPU, built on the 45nm process, so you shouldn't expect the same per-core performance you'd see in a current-gen i7. That said, because it's a quad-core, it still holds its own in older or less CPU-intensive games. Think titles like Skyrim or Civilization V, where the extra cores help keep things smooth. Pair that with an ATI Mobility Radeon HD 5850, which carries up to about 4 GB of shared graphics memory. The 5850 was a solid mid-range mobile GPU when it launched, capable of handling 1080p gaming at medium settings in games from 2010-2012. In practice, you'll see decent frame rates in titles like Batman, Arkham Asylum, Mass Effect 2, or Borderlands when you dial the settings down a notch. Modern AAA games will still be a stretch, but if your library includes a lot of indie or older titles, the combination is surprisingly competent. Now, a big selling point of the Envy is that 17.3-inch Full HD Ultra Bright View Infinity LED screen. The panel is bright enough to use in a sunlit room, and the 1920x1080 resolution gives you plenty of real estate for multitasking, game on one side, Discord chat, or a spreadsheet on the other. The colors are not as punchy as a newer IPS panel, but they're respectable for the price range. If you're someone who likes to game on a larger canvas, this display alone can tip the scales in the Envy's favor. Heat and fan noise are where the Envy shows its age. The i7-7720QM and Radeon HD 5850 draw a fair amount of power, and the cooling solution is a single-fan design with heat pipes that were standard for laptops a decade ago. Under light workloads, browsing, word processing, or a casual game, the fan stays almost silent. Push the machine into a sustained gaming session, however, and you'll hear the fan spin up to a noticeable whine. After 15 or 20 minutes of intense graphics, the chassis can become warm to the touch, especially around the keyboard area. It's not a disaster you can still type, but it's something to be aware of if you plan on marathon gaming sessions on a lap or a small desk. Speaking of the keyboard, the Envy's full-size layout feels solid, thanks to the aluminum carbon relic finish that gives the chassis a premium look and a little extra rigidity. The keys have a decent travel distance and a tactile bump that many gamers appreciate over the shallow chiclet keyboards you find on ultra-thin ultrabooks. Unfortunately, there's no backlighting, so playing in a dim room means you'll have to rely on the screen's glow to see the keys. If backlit keys are a must-have for you, you'll need to look elsewhere. Battery life is another practical concern. The Envy packs a 6-cell battery, which is typical for a 17-inch gaming machine. In real-world usage, you'll get roughly 3 to 4 hours of mixed work and light gaming, and less than 2 hours if you're pushing the GPU hard. That's consistent with what you'd expect from a laptop that sacrifices battery endurance for raw performance. If you need all-day unplugged use, you'll have to keep the charger handy or accept frequent plugins.